Welcome back to the Level Up and Live podcast, the show for business owners who want more than transactions. They want transformation. I'm your host, Sean Meyers, and my mission is to empower business owners to design a life they don't go to regret without sacrificing health, relationships, or spirituality. We do this through the Level Up and Live mastermind group built on 5 pillars: accountability, clarity, support, guidance, and community. Today's guest is someone who embodies those same values. His name is Kirk Wright, founder and CEO of Buildian Construction Services. Since 2017, Buildian has grown into a national general contracting firm specializing in multifamily renovations, design build projects, and large-scale commercial work. Kirk is also a devoted husband, father of 4 daughters, and a Christ follower who believes that building structures is only half the work. The real impact is building people and legacy. In this episode, we'll unpack how Kirk started Buildian, the grit it took to scale, and how he leads with faith and purpose without sacrificing what matters most. Kirk, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, appreciate it.
Now let's start at the beginning. How did you first get into construction, and when did you know this would be your life's work, brother?
And I got into construction when I was pretty young. I was like about 14. My dad, we always did stuff at the house, building whatever we needed to do. But when I was about 14, I started working with a few construction companies and got into laying rock on houses. And then so my dad's buddies always cleared lots, rocked houses, just did anything and everything. They all worked at a quarry there in Georgetown, and on their time off, they would do other separate stuff. So they're like, hey, we need somebody to basically haul the stuff around. So I was that guy, right? And so they come pick me up in the morning, and I thought it was pretty cool to see these guys working so hard that they'd get off from a late shift at the quarry and they'd come pick me up at like 5 in the morning, and then we'd go clear lots till about 3. They'd go home and sleep and then go back to work. And it's just like, man, it's just like anything was possible, right? And so just seeing those guys do that, and then just working for a buddy's dad for a long time, working at a general contractor there where we built schools, roads, water treatment plants. So they just give me the opportunity to do those kind of things and run equipment, and just never was held back, right? It was just like, here, we got yelled at a lot, right? But it was for screwing up little things here or there, but it was all teachable moments, and that's what we always liked. So, and then outside of that, I went into building. As soon as I was about 19, 20 years old, I went into the oil field building facilities there. So built oil tank battery facilities for Chesapeake, and then I built midstream facilities for Anadarko, and then operated them and all that stuff.
Now, I read that you worked across different trades early to build on your understanding of how Buildian, or how you were shaping your construction experience and your skill sets. How did that shape your mindset about business versus just doing the job?
Yeah, just really just growing up around it all, and being able to see the trades and how it just systematically goes together, right? And how it all, one piece makes the next piece and moves on. And then so getting into the business, man, we just jumped into it, and the business part, was a bigger learning curve than any of the construction ever was, right? There's guys that guide you in every step of the way of, when it comes to framing, when it comes to roofing, when it comes to installing, windows or whatever. You can Google any of that, right? The business part, you can read as many books as you want. You can talk to as many people as you want. But if you don't have that will and mental strength of just pushing through to learn those lessons, you got to look dumb for a while, right? And if you don't have that humility of looking dumb and asking for those favors, that advice from the guys where you want to be, I think you're going to have a harder time, right? And so we had to learn that early on. And I had some good, guys in business that really kind of guided me, and but a lot of it was, trial and error, right? So how to do things. So
yeah. Now, at what point, for our listeners and audience, at what point in your life, in your career, you're working construction, you're learning the trades, did you decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to start my own company? And what fears came? I'm curious on what fears came with that.
Man, me and my wife talk about this quite a bit. I've never been one that feared much, right? Because I kind of just drive with faith, and so just
Mm.
when it was in my gut at a young age, watching these guys being able to operate their own company while working for someone, and then doing so well with their families, and then I've been around business owners doing construction, owning mechanic shops, or even just retiring and opening their own companies, and seeing those things and just seeing the freedom they had. I was like, I want that,
Mm.
and then you get into it and you're like, there's really not that much freedom for a while, but it really works out. I say that, but I say that with a grain of salt, that there is a lot more things that I'm able to go do and go see, like with my kids. And I've traveled all over the United States just doing this kind of stuff. And so those opportunities have been great, and just getting to meet people. But um, to be able to, sorry, I hope I'm answering your question, but to be able
Yeah.
to just go from like working and doing like just simply sweeping out new built homes when I was 14 to um, running this company. It's just, I just never had the fear of it. I walked in when my wife was 8 months pregnant with our now 8-year old. Um, and I just was like, hey, I know we talked about this briefly, but I quit my job and we're going to start our own company. And she's like, what? And so I think her fear was enough for both of us that I had to just run
Mm.
through it, right? And so
Yeah.
I think it was always faith driven. For me, it's just constantly just, it's in our gut. It was in my gut that this is what I was supposed to do. And so just trying to get through it is the obstacle, but
Yeah.
definitely just always having that's the biggest answer I could give you, is just the best answer is just the faith that I had in what God instilled in me to say, just go for it. And
Have
it's
you
like,
all?
why not me, right? Like anyone else
Yeah.
can do it. Why not? Why can't we? So
That's such a good point, man. And I love that you keep bringing up faith, because it really is that bridge. It really is that ladder to really knocking down and overcoming that fear. Because that's like one of the top 3 reasons it holds people back from fear of whatever it may be, of traveling, starting a business, a fear of the unknown, a fear of not finishing the race, whatever, a fear of being judged, a fear of the business not working out. I mean, fear is just all up in us. And I love how you bring up faith, and I agree with you 1000%, having that faith. Have you always embodied faith in your life, Kirk?
yeah, I have, and I think it definitely has really grown in me more as as a
Mm.
family, being a husband, being a father, and then just
Yeah.
being further deepening my faith in like just in community alone, like at the level up and live, or just in
Yeah.
church, or anything that we're about it. We run a house. We have a house church at our house on Wednesdays, and when we first started going to house church, I was like, I don't want any of this. I don't want to go listen to this. I don't want to do all this. I don't want to hear all the problems. I don't,
Yeah.
and when we really got into it, it was like, man, this is really a good thing,
Really.
And then,
Mm.
a few years later, I was, we were hosting, and then I was asked to be a house church pastor, and then went back to just straight hosting. So it's just, it's really like eye opening once you just dive into the uncomfortable a little bit,
Yeah.
what
Mm.
God can reveal in you. So.
Tell me about one of the things that talk about faith, talking about taking a leap of faith and doing big things, doing hard things. When I speak to you, and when you speak to us in the Level Up Live Mastermind group and the roundtables, and even on the podcast in just a short period of time, I'm feeling a sense of confidence and competence in what you're doing. There's almost like a peace of when you're talking, and I know our listeners and viewers probably can receive that as well. Has anybody ever told you that before?
A little bit. I think it's just, when I was younger, everyone's like, man, you're kind of cocky, I'm like, no, I think I'm just
Really?
confidence, right? Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's, I don't know if it was always, but to me, it's just, experience breeds confidence, right? And so just being
Yeah.
able to just dive into something, and, my dad's a mechanic, and, uh, told me like, hey, it's already broken. Like, what are you going to do? You break it worse, right? Just try to tear it down and see what it is, and fix it, right? And so
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
having that kind of like idea of, and then really like we grew up with not a lot. I mean, my dad
Mhm.
and mom raised us 3 kids on 50 grand a year. It's pretty hard to do. And so
Yeah.
just being able to be like, hey, we can do this ourselves. Like, and then yeah, it may be harder, but the hard now is great compared to the hard later, right? And so
Yes.
just being able to like not be scared of going after, whatever it
Yeah.
may be, tackle the obstacle and handle it.
Mm.
And yeah, you may have to ask for help, right? Because I've torn down some stuff I probably shouldn't have, and then have to ask somebody to help me put it back together. But my understanding of that, and then the respect for someone that can do it, right, is even
Yeah.
higher later on. And so, like with the guys that work with us every day, we highly, we don't take it like advantage of them by any means, because we know we've been there. We know how hard it is to work in 100-degree weather and putting a roof on or painting a building when it's 3 stories. Um,
Yeah.
simply
Mm.
just demoing. You're like, man, this is brutal on the body. And
Yeah.
so just stuff like that is really kept us grounded and humble in
Yes.
just everyday life, and not taking advantage of the things God has blessed us to do. So
That's beautiful, man. I love that you share
yeah,
that you're displaying humility and humbleness. And that's what I was
yeah,
getting to, is just you're meeting these people where they are, whether it's workers or your family, and you're living that spiritual groundedness. And yes, there's competence and there's confidence, but there's also borderline arrogance, where you're arrogant. Oh, I know it all. I don't think
yeah,
you definitely don't display that. And I have in the past where that was a mistake of mine. I thought I knew it all, but at the end of the day, I know this much, which
yeah,
is just a pebble, a sand of pebble. I mean, there's so much that I don't know.
yeah,
And I think it's important for entrepreneurs like us, and even our listeners and viewers, to be open-minded, right? Because a lot of times our ego and pride gets in the way. And it's like, oh, we know it all. Well, you really don't, right? That's the ego and pride talking. And I have flipped the script. Now I'm like, I'm super curious, because I just want to be a student of the game, even in my lane, even the things that I am working on and obsessed with. And it sounds like that you are as well, because things are changing. We're evolving, technology, AI, and the different types of industries that you're in. So speaking of that, Buildian's growth. Now, you're not just in Texas. You also took the leap from local remodels to operating across 4 states. Is that correct?
yeah. We've been right now. We really focus in Texas and Central Florida, but
Okay.
we've really been in. We had a big footprint in Kansas for a while, and then we've we were in California for what, 7 of our 8 years. Um,
Wow.
my partner and I separated, and so he was doing California. So we just kind of separated that out, and so he's on his own in California, and that was kind of where his bread and butter was anyway. So, but now it's just, yeah, we're in Texas and Central Florida, but we have projects. We're currently waiting on a project in Kentucky. We've done stuff in Tennessee, Arizona. We've been in, I think, 11 different states so far. Yeah, so we've been all over. I mean, I think I've
Yeah.
flown all over this country. So
What would you say your biggest friction points scaling and going into these multiple states?
really, just the client, it was the easier part, right? Because they valued us, they trusted us. There was the relationship already built, based in Texas or Florida or California, where we had already worked for them. I think the hiccup was for us is the people, right? And getting and taking someone out of the environment that they know in Texas or Florida or whatever that is, and trying to place them into another state and replicate what we've already been doing was the hardest part. And then mainly just the environments are different. Texas to Kentucky, right? It gets a lot colder, whatever. So it's just different
Yeah.
operation points, and then really, it always, I think in business always comes down to the people, right? And then trying to build that culture, and we're trying to do it rapidly, right? And so
Yeah.
we go from doing it in Texas or another state that we're established, and step out into the middle of Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, or something, and we've never been there. So we're like, well, how do we build the culture here? How do we find the right people? How do we, because that's the main thing, is like, we don't want to neglect what we've already done in the culture we have, and just
Yeah.
put bodies, right? We want
Right.
people that are adding value to us. We're adding value to them, to our
Yeah.
clients, and that it's just we're just continue to replicate those things. So that was always the hardest part is people. I think that's the hardest part of any business, right? Is
Agreed.
finding the right people and building that out and making sure, because we can always find people. Everybody wants a check, right? I think that's great. But to find people that truly want to add the value and serve is the biggest point for us. And we're constantly serving our clients. So, and if you're not taking care of yourself and serving like your own household, which is hard to do when you've moved across the state to do so for a time that may be, we get one job and then it stacks to another job and stacks to another job. And you're like, all right, now we got to find someone. We got to get this guy back home because we can see our culture is kind of falling because we've told him hey, we're all about family, but then we moved him away from his family. So it's kind of hard to do. Right. And, and so I think it's really just finding the right people, and just, we've had some great guys. We still have some great guys, and they're just, I feel, as I'm biased, right? But I think they really enjoy the culture we've built, like the humility that we have into it. And then just really, we're a true team on this, and everybody gets a piece of whatever we do. Right. And so it's really, hey, their success is our success. And right. That's what we're trying to embody in all of this. So, yeah.
Do you hire within? Are these people a part of your like W-2 employees, or are you going in these different states and trying to network, build relationships, and bring on outsourcing contractors?
Yeah, so most of our work is all outsourced subcontractors, really general contractors. So we have the people that for us are project managers, estimators, sales. That's all in-house. And then we outsource our subcontractors. But once we find a good crew, we try to treat them like family, and keep them busy, and then treat them like they are part of Buildian, right? And because they really are. Without them, we're nothing. Because I can't go out there and repaint a whole building. I can't go out there, reside it. I can't do, I can't build it from the ground up. But trust me, I've poured a little pad at my house, and 10 by 10 gets away from you. So I can't imagine pouring a slab that's holding an apartment complex. So by myself, right? Like there's no way, it's impossible, right? So, with many we can do a lot of things. So that's why we like that. We keep them busy, right? And keep them adding value along the way. So
now, are some of these workers that you're building these relationships with, because you're doing these 1-year projects? I mean, some of the stories that you're sharing with us, are they going to these different states when these projects are finished to going to these other states? Are they working, moving different states with you?
Yeah, we have some, and those projects that they do go to the other states are typically like the faster 2 to 3 month projects.
Yeah.
With the longer projects, we find local guys because we want to give back to the community within the job that we've gotten, right? And so we want to build that footprint there, and doing that with the local people. And then really what helps is we'll bring a good crew knowing that they don't want to be away from their family as well, and they want the job from the start, and then they help us bring on other subs. So they'll contact guys that they know in the area, or there's a language barrier sometimes. They can speak Spanish, or, they can find other guys that in the trade just by the community that they know, and then they bring them in and say, hey, you should hire these guys. And then it helps that sub grow too. So we have some subs like in Texas that would eventually hire that guy out in Kansas if they wanted, and then that's just another part of them. And if it doesn't work out, then they're like, hey, we're glad to give it to him. Wow. We want to stay in Texas. So it kind of helps grow everybody a little bit.
Wow, that's awesome. Construction is tough. You had mentioned this earlier. I mean, any industry is tough. Lawn care, real estate, lawyer, insurance, it's tough. I mean, for you, you've got cost overruns, you got change orders, you got client expectations. You've mentioned this several times. You got people, you're managing emotions, and from out of state and from a distance. How do you manage those pressure points without losing your integrity? Because I know a lot of our listeners, in my selfish reasons, I want to know, how do you manage those pressure points without losing your integrity?
Yeah, I think it's just being honest and communicating the truth in every step of the way. We try to do a weekly report. Sometimes it gets a little, 2-week report or something, but we can constantly trying to send communication to our clients to give them updates. We have our software can give them access to like almost a news feed, like something like on Facebook, so we can communicate through there, just messaging. and we can show them anything and everything that they would like to see or we can see within that. So the photos, just simply messaging each other, emailing through there, it really just kind of open up that transparency of the project alone. And that's the biggest thing is, I think we can all talk about it, right? But if I can just say, hey, here's the proof behind it all, the transparency of our back end of simply, the process, the timeline, the even the budget. Like, hey, we're not doing this for our health. We all got to make money, just like the person we're working for. And so I'll be honest throughout the budget. Hey, here's our overhead, here's our profit, and here's everything else in between it. And if we can save dollars in between here, then let's all work together, right? That's a true partnership, is what we're trying to build. And I feel like that's kind of gotten away from the industry, of us actually serving the community and helping out the people that are really greatly impacting what's going on. If they're building a 400 unit complex, people need a place to live. I mean, and so if we're able to help in any way to do that, I mean, that's what we're trying to do, is trying to serve them, the community around us, and just really just being a vessel, right? Of resources. So.
Now, when projects are demanding, which I'm sure in your industry, they're consistently on a daily basis, the projects that you're working and have in the pipeline, not only are demanding the time from you and deadlines are tight, how do you guard, we're pivoting a little bit here, how do you guard your relationship with your wife and your role as a father and your spiritual rhythms in doing just that?
Yeah, I think, when I walk in the house after a day of work, I pretty much shut it off. And now the girls, I have 4 daughters, they go to bed around 8:00. So then that's me and my wife's time until we go to bed. And so simply we'll go on walks at night, just simply watch a movie, or, just find something on Netflix, right? Or whatever it is. And then we do house church on every Wednesday. So that really grounds us in our faith outside of just church. And that brings a smaller knit community of, 15 couples and their kids. And it's chaos, right? But it's a good chaos, There's 20 kids running around my backyard with 15 to 16 adults in the living room discussing what was discussed on Sunday, and then just having just openly knowing our community and being there for everyone around us is what we try to do. But then to ground, like my wife and I try to do date nights as much as we can. Simply just being involved in our kids when they're doing sports, horse riding, or whatever it may be, just being involved in that, coaching, and just letting everyone know, like, we preach family in our everyday life for business. Like, hey, we're going to spend a lot of time together in business, but value that time. There's no true thing as balance, right? There's no 50-50 balance when you're doing life. So we spend a lot of time at work, but when you're at home, I don't expect you to answer my call after 6. If you want to, or if it's a one-off thing, that I'm not calling you every day after 6 or 7. So it's not like, oh, it's another dreadful call. It's like, oh, I wonder what he really needs, right? This must be important, right? Or vice versa. They call me after 6, I'll call them back or whatever. But typically I try to take all distractions away, put it up, and then just hang out, right? And then I'll check it again later that evening, or first thing in the morning, or whatever I need to do, So I think that, and then my wife and I try to really commit to that. So no, we're not perfect. Things happen, right? But,
of course not. We're not God. We're not Jesus, right? Yeah. We're striving that 10.0 version.
That's right.
Now, I know our listeners and our viewers, and even myself, we all feel doubt, insecurity, and even imposter syndrome in our career, in our entrepreneur journey. How have you handled it? Any self-doubt, insecurity, imposter syndrome along your journey? And I'm curious on how you've handled it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in rooms with guys with net worths that I couldn't imagine, right? And I'm like, man, how did I get in this room? Why am I here, right? Yeah. But I just take it as like, hey, this is a blessing that I get to be involved. So take it full advantage. I mean, it's doubtful. I mean, getting asked to even do these podcasts, like, what does someone want to hear me talk about, right? I mean, it's just those things that, but it's, hey, I didn't ask for these. It's just kind of like, I look at it as, hey, this is a blessing, right? Like getting to spend this time with you on this podcast and maybe help somebody else later on when they hear it or whatever. But insecurities, man, it goes back to that confidence thing. I don't think I've ever really felt that insecure. I just think hard work creates more luck. I think volume negates luck. So if you need more, just keep punching forward. And we all know what to do. It's just we push it off because of those things. So I think when you start getting insecure, just go back to the roots, why you started what you're doing, and just charge forward. It really will. I think it really carries you out of a lot of things. I think, I really am a big component of hard work. I think it'll get you out of a lot of things. Yeah. It'll get you, if you're working on something hard enough, all that should push away, right? And because you're focusing on the task at hand, and it's really hard to get out of that when you're just driving forward and staying focused on that hard working, whatever it may be. I mean, physically, it could be a physical hard work. It could be, hey, I think you got anxiety, you got depression, you got any of these things that the world has these days, is just go to the gym, work out or something, go on a walk, clear your mind. I think it's a huge thing that kind of resets your compass a little bit and gets you back to true north of where you need to be going. So
great advice. Yeah. Now, looking forward, where do you see Buildian in 5 to 10 years? What's the legacy you want to leave behind beyond the buildings, just the construction?
Yeah. I mean, I always thought it would be cool in the construction base to drive around like, hey, we did that, right? Talking to my girls or my wife or whatever. Yeah. That's always a cool thing, right? But beyond that, I think it's just the impact that we've made in lives. The people that, not just in my family, but the people that worked with us, are working with us, the subcontractors that have worked for us, and then the partners that we've partnered up with, helping out their community and curb appeal or adding value to make the residents want to stay there, and then just adding to the residents' lives. Simply just seeing them walk around and just saying hi, and and usually we're a burden to them, right, on their jobs, or if we're building it from the ground up, just being able to like put our true heart and soul into that we know we did the best we possibly could to give whoever's going to open that door for the first time to the last time, that this was created for them to have a place of sanctuary, like a peaceful place that they can call home. There's plenty of people in this world that don't have that. So if we can be a part of doing that and impacting lives, there's one company that we just called Redemptive Real Estate, and they it's really cool how we're all talking about IRR, right? They talk about ERR, eternal rate of return. So how are we helping and impacting people for the eternal life that we're going to, right? And then how can we speak what God has done in our lives as a testimony, and so we can't change their hearts, but maybe we can guide their minds to open up scripture or something like that. So how can we impact that, right? And that's one of the cool things that we try to do anyway.
I love that, man. Well, Kirk, thanks for going deep with us today, man. I just want to acknowledge you on your journey, opening up today. That was the quickest 30 minutes of my entire life.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you sharing your journey, man. It was a flow today. Your journey is one of grit, faith, risk, and relentlessness, which is also a powerful reminder for me and our viewers and audience that leadership is more than just revenue, right? In money and gross revenue. It's about character under pressure, and you've embodied that today. So I just want to acknowledge you for that. Appreciate you being you. Appreciate you saying yes to be on the podcast today. Thank you so much for spending that 30 minutes with us today. I know you've been nothing but valuable today. So thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. How can our audience, our listeners, and our community at Level Up and Live, how can we support you?
Really? I mean, I'm not sure, man. Look at our page. We're kind of it's buildian.construction.com. Check it out. If there's anyone needs some commercial renovations or ground up stuff or anything like that, just reach out to us. We'd love to help y'all, and then us helping you, hopefully, kind of builds that relationship when we continue down the path. So.
Amen. Everything rises and falls on leaderships. And we'll drop the links in the show notes so you can connect with Kirk and learn more about Buildian's work. If you got value, share this episode, leave a review, and subscribe so we can bring more stories just like this to you. Until next time, Stay on mission, live with purpose, and keep leveling up without losing yourself. Thanks again, Kirk.
All right. Thank you.